Chiefs Kingdom, we need to talk. We're diving into all the stories coming out of training camp where rookies are stealing the show, vets are bringing the heat, and Clark Hunt's dropping major stadium news.
Strap in, folks, because we've got fights, buzz cuts, injuries piling up, and a whole lot of Chiefs buzz to unpack. Let's kick it off with the latest from camp. Training camp is in full swing, but unfortunately, July 25th, day 4, heavy rain closed practice to fans. But we did hear rumors that Xavier Worthy made jaws drop with a deep catch downfield. The excitement continues to grow around this guy. Last year, he had 59 receptions, 638 yards, and 6 touchdowns, and so far in camp, he's looking like a monster again.
Hot digging dog.
Special teams coordinator Dave Tobe spoke post-practice, hyping the kick return battle. And with the new kickoff rules, this battle is more relevant than ever. Worthy and 7th-round rookie running back Brashard Smith are in the mix. Tobe said they're testing multiple guys to find that spark. However, he did end by saying,
"It's going to be, it's going to take the preseason games to get it to make a real good judgment on that. But right now, Nico is far and above everybody else right now, just because he just keeps getting better."
Running back Kareem Hunt also spoke, and he sounds hungry. He posted 728 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns in 2024 after stepping up for an injured Isaiah Pacheco. And now he's battling Pacheco, Elijah Mitchell, and Brashard Smith for snaps. Chiefs Kingdom, who's your RB1? Drop it in the comments below.
2nd-round rookie defensive tackle Omarr Norman-Lott talked about facing all-pro center Creed Humphrey, and his comments were pretty funny.
Humphrey is a brick wall. No, I'm not laughing. Seriously.
Going against players as talented as Creed can only help him develop faster.
July 26th was the first padded practice, and practice got a lot more physical. The O-line battle is heating up. Kingsley Suamataia versus Mike Caliendo at left guard, with Suamataia the presumed starter, but Caliendo's pushing hard. Mahomes connected deep with Worthy again, showing that this offense can still stretch defenses. George Karlaftis, who recently signed that big contract extension, is looking hungrier than ever, showing that his motivation continues to be on improvement every day.
Rookie wide receiver Jalen Royals, a 4th-round pick, flashed in red zone drills, which is great news with Rashee Rice's possible suspension looming. Travis Kelce debuted a buzz cut, and X went wild. I don't know about everybody else, but I think Chiefs fans might go a little overboard when it comes to haircuts. But what do I know? Let me know in the comments.
Tight ends Robert Tonyan and Noah Gray showed up big, catching almost everything that came their way. Tonyan's a veteran who's been pushing hard to make the team. Special teams continued testing returners, and no surprise, Brashard Smith showed some speed. Smith's a 7th-round pick, and I should temper my expectations, but he's looking great so far in camp.
Moving on to July 27th, linebacker Nick Bolton told reporters he thinks this D could be number 1.
Yeah, we had a pretty good defense last year in terms of efficiency. We also want to be a top defense in this league. We got the personnel, the players, and the coaches to do so. That's about executing week to week and getting us up an opportunity to win football games, to help our team win, and ultimately we'll get back to the end game. But I feel like we could be the number 1 defense in this league, and that's my motivation as we keep going in training camp.
They were kind of middle of the road in a lot of different categories on defense last year, but they were in the top 5 of points allowed, which I think is the most important stat. Quarterback Trent McDuffie also talked about improving leadership skills and thinks most of his improvements will come on the sideline rather than on the field.
Well, my horoscope said that this morning I needed to be more vocal, actually. So it's funny that you asked this question, and not only on the field, but off the field. I think for me personally, I think that's where my leadership kind of takes a hold of things, because I feel like when you're on the field, things are going so fast, not a lot of guys want to hear a lot of things, but when you come to the sideline, when your heart rate slows down, when you can kind of sit back and realize what you did, I feel like I can come in there and be that second eye. That's that person that is out there with you, the person that's seen that before. And the coaches do a really good job at coaching, but sometimes you kind of just want that person who's been out there, who's been through it, to kind of come over and kind of just let you know that you're doing the right things or where you messed up. So for me this year, just being someone that can be personable and approachable. I think that's what my leadership's going to be, and someone that's just going to be consistently doing the right thing, and hopefully people follow that.
Steve Smith Sr. was at camp praising Hollywood Brown's recovery from his 2024 shoulder injury that kept him off the field most of 2024. I'm glad his recovery went well, but I hope he just stays healthy this year.
Rookie defensive tackle Omarr Norman-Lott kept getting first-team reps, and he continues to look good next to Chris Jones. Wide receiver Sky Moore is under pressure. This camp just might be his audition for other teams in the NFL.
Please don't lie to me.
Safety Brian Cook flashed in drills, and some think he might be fully recovered and back to his previous form. Who's your defensive breakout star? Drop it in the comments.
July 28th was a big day. A fight broke out with two of our rookies, offensive tackle Josh Simmons and edge rusher Ashton Gelati. Kelce and Reed had to step in to break it up. Second-year player Kingsley Suamataia was asked about the fight after practice, and here's what he had to say.
Man, we're just out there competing, having fun. You know, off the field, we're all loving brothers, but once we're on here, we're trying to knock each other's head off, so it's all love.
This is where we fight!
I wouldn't make too much of this. Kelce's thrown his fair share of punches through different training camps, and he's headed to the Hall of Fame. Sometimes things get chippy. The only thing I would worry about is if they threw punches in a game, and that would be unacceptable.
Right tackle Juwan Taylor and tight end Trey Watson were activated from the PUP list, but cornerback Christian Fulton and rookie tight end Jake Brenningstool remain injured. Hollywood Brown spoke on receiver chemistry, hyping up Worthy and Royals. Also, legends Tamba Ali, Ted McKnight, Bobby Bell, and more visited, mentoring the young guys and signing autographs for fans.
On July 29th, day 7, Jalen Moore, who had been sharing reps with Juwan Taylor at right tackle, now is sharing reps with Kingsley Suamataia at left guard, and Mike Caliendo was taking snaps at center. Sadly, wide receivers Worthy and Brown exited practice with injuries. Supposedly not severe, but concerning. Linebacker Jeffrey Bassa, safety Deion Bush, and cornerback Eric Scott also suffered minor injuries.
Fast forward to July 30th, day 8 practice was a lighter, no-pad session to give players a breather before tomorrow's day off. But the injury list is growing. 10 players sat out, including wide receiver Xavier Worthy, who entered concussion protocol after the prior day's exit. Arrowhead Pride reported linebacker Jeff Bassa, safety Deion Bush, cornerback Eric Scott, cornerback Christian Fulton, tight end Jake Brenningstool, and others like wide receiver Hollywood Brown are still limited. Fans were sadly asked to leave early due to weather, but the team powered through.
Defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo spoke to the media.
Yeah, I have my eye on, I use certain guys I use as indicators to, how hard it is or how many reps they're getting. And I was looking at like guys like Drew and, Chamari. I know certain guys are in shape, and when they were a little bit gassed, then I got a little bit concerned. The next thing you worry about then is when that happens and the heat's jumping on them and they've had a lot of reps and they've lost a lot of fluid, are we going to have any pulls? And I think for the most part, defensively, we survived. So that was a good thing to get all that work in the heat. Andy talks about building this foundation and that this stuff helps us when we get to November. And when we get in those tough situations, we know we've already been there mentally. So it's big.
And defensive end Charles Ummenihue discussed his recovery.
I feel a lot better. So I think it's a big difference just in my consistency with my explosiveness. I feel as strong as I ever been. So I'm glad that, I'm back at full strength for the first time since when I first got here. So it should bode well for me.
Wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster hyped rookie wide receiver Jalen Royals.
Man, Jalen Royals, man, he's a rookie who's very strong, quiet dude, but works really hard. I don't know if you guys know, but he has, when he's out there, he's aura forming, and I think that's something that you guys don't get to see a lot. He's a guy that's going to show up every day and just work. He doesn't say a whole lot. He's very coachable. He's a sponge. He's a great dude to be around in that room.
My thoughts on everything going on in training camp is the rookies are looking good and could be a little worried about injuries, but it is super hot, and sometimes injuries just come from that, and it's nothing to worry about. Worthy's out with a concussion. Hopefully that gets better. I don't know if he has a history of concussions, but that's the first one I've seen of him, at least in the NFL, as far as I can remember. Kingsley Suamataia, the offensive line, Jalen Moore. The offensive line is a huge question, and does it end up Kingsley's the swing tackle, or does it end up Jalen Moore's the swing tackle? Everything's up in the air. Do we actually keep Mike Caliendo as the backup center? because he steps up there. I don't know, but it's going to be a fun thing to watch. The secondary has me a little worried. I would have expected Christian Fulton on the field a lot earlier, and every day he misses practice on the PUP list has me concerned about our starting corners going into preseason. I feel like the defensive line is going to be fine, but I was really hoping FAU would be looking a little better in camp, and I just haven't seen much from him. All in all, I'm excited about this team, and I think we have a lot going for us, especially culture. Let's go win another Super Bowl. Buck, how about your thoughts?
I was very impressed with what I saw in training camp so far, but remember, we have to temper our expectations a little bit because it is just practice and they're not going full speed against other NFL teams in a competitive game.
So many stories coming out of camp, and we couldn't possibly have hit all of them. Tell us what we missed, and maybe we'll talk about them on our Monday night live stream.
That's it for now, Chiefs Kingdom. Stay loud, stay proud, and we'll catch you next time. Let's kick it off with the latest from camp. Sorry, I was watching a lot of Ozzy funeral stuff, so there's a lot of English. Yeah. In it. But we did hear rumors, and I'm going to tell you what those rumors are. But first, I'm going to tease those rumors. And 6 touchdowns, and he looks... Damn it.
Special teams, Dave.
Tanyan's a veteran, but I'm apparently a teenager in heat.
Detailing the D's. So many stories coming out of. I suck at this.